Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I am Jeff Parles. She is Alex White, as you can see by our jerseys behind us. Not only just our names at the bottom of the screen. It's amazing. It's already Thursday. We could just move right along.
And Jeff, you'd be happy to know July 10th. So the month is also moving along. I know you're excited to get to football season.
We are 21 days away from an NFL game. Now, we are using the phrase NFL game very loosely when we talk about the Hall of Fame game, but there is an NFL game this month with the Lions and the Chargers playing in Canton in 21 days from now. So looking forward to that. Of course, our NFL previews are going to really start in earnest next week, so be on the lookout on our YouTube page. Team previews will be coming. Our league overview early on coming next week as well. You see, next week is just for live action. Home Run Derby, which, again, Brent Rooker was added this morning. This field for the Home Run Derby is just going to be awesome in Atlanta. The All-Star Game, which between you and me, you and I have talked about this off the air. I would talk about the MLB All-Star Game from a betting perspective for maybe 35 seconds. We'll do it for more than that on Tuesday, but we'll get some football talk in next week. We're looking forward to it. All right, let's get into it. There's already one game already underway. Mets and Orioles are playing 2 in Baltimore today because the rain out last night. No score in the bottom of the 4th inning between the Mets and the O's. So that has been under City in a game that was 9.5. We'll get to game 2 in a moment, but let's start with the only game that starts in this 10 o'clock Pacific hour, and that is the Cubs and the Twins, Alex.
Just want to bring up 9.5, and the first 5 was 5, which really freaked me out because I was ready to go under. And then when I saw the 5, I was like, something's off here. I don't know what's going on, but we'll see. Maybe they'll get some runs here in the 5th, but I did stay off of it. No bets for me.
That was, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the game started at 9:35, not 9:05. That was an error on my end, but Mets had an opportunity early, squandered it. Orioles have a runner at third with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. All right, let's go to Minnesota. Cubs in danger of getting swept by the Twins. And more importantly for the Cubs, even more so than even just these individual games, look at these NL standings all of a sudden with the Cubs in first place by only a game and a half in the NL Central over Milwaukee. And you look at that, Alex, and they throw Colin Rea today against Chris Paddock, -110 on the Cubs. This has been, we've almost gone off the tab here with how much movement there's been on this game side and total. Open 9.5, got to 10, now back to 9.5, juiced over on the total. Cubs, this is a lot of movement to just get back to where we started here. We're back to the opener. Got as high as Cubs -130. Now back to -110 on Chicago here, trying to avoid the sweep in Minneapolis.
I really can't even fault bettors here because I think this is the most flip-em game I've ever seen. I mean, the 2 starting pitchers with Rea and Paddock are pretty dead even. Maybe a slight advantage to Colin Rea for the Cubs. But then the Twins, slight advantage with the bullpen. Looking at both of their numbers offensively in the last 7 days. Now, maybe if you want to say, well, the Cubs are the better offense over the long haul throughout the whole season, then you could give them the advantage there and maybe add in a little bit for trying to avoid the sweep. You could make a case for the Cubs. So I think that would be the only way I would play it. And as I mentioned, Reyes' numbers just slightly better than Paddock. So I think he can pitch well here today against Minnesota. Lean to the Cubs, but I'm definitely not going to bet this game.
Weather could be an issue early. They'll get the game in. We might see a small delay in Minnesota. All right, let's go. Let's go next up. We go keeping an interleague late game here tonight. The A's and the Braves. Not as late as it's been. Another one that just snuck over the total last night. 9-2 Atlanta gets the win over the A's. Strider and Sears tonight. It's a 10 in a Strider game. Now, the weather in Sacramento tonight is absurd for hitters. It's 100 degrees, which obviously hot, and the wind's blowing out the dead center. So that's why we got a 10 here in this game, Alex. I mean, these are such good hitting conditions. I'm a little bit concerned because of the two pitchers in this game. Sears, mixed bag. Strider, I know, is not been his best this year, coming off a year of being out with the injury, but still Spencer Strider. So I'm going to stay off -80 on Atlanta here.
Ooh, so it has moved a little bit. I thought that opening number was a pretty cheap price there for Strider and the Braves, but this is a team that is 16-29 on the road. So that made me stay off of it immediately and not really want to lay that price. But to your point, Jeff, I do think both pitchers could start off pretty well. And it's kind of the opposite of last night's game, right? If you went first 5 over, no sweat at all, had to sweat out the full game. I do lean to the over. I would just wait for an inning or two and see if you can get a better number, because I definitely think we'll see some runs here, whether it's against these starting pitchers or maybe the bullpens. But I mean, both offenses have been hitting, especially Braves yesterday. We saw them really come back for that first one. But the other thing that makes me a little nervous is that first one was Jeffrey Springs, who is a lefty, and now here the Athletics have another lefty starting with JP Sears. So we'll see how they do there, but stay off for me. Maybe wait and see if I can get a better in-game number to go over with that weather.
The weather, boy, we're going to start seeing this from time to time this summer here in Sacramento as well. I don't think people realize, unless if you're following AAA, how hot it gets in the summer just east and south of the Bay. Boy, it is going to be, we're going to get some of these games. Could even get some more this weekend when the A's welcome in Toronto over the weekend in Sacramento. All right, game 2 of the Orioles and the Mets. Still no scores. We enter the 5th in game 1. We don't know what the Mets are doing pitching-wise, but David Peterson has been efficient so far in game 1, so we may see a full-scale bullpen game in game 2 for New York. Sugano, who was supposed to pitch last night, will go in game 2 for Baltimore here. -15 on the Mets in game 2 without knowing the starter. Even money on Baltimore and a total of 10 in Camden Yards.
I would wait and see. I'm curious to see how this first one ends. I really did want to back Peterson yesterday and fade Sugano. So kind of waiting to see if the Orioles end up taking game 1. I'll look to back the Mets, make sure everybody's in that lineup though, and probably look for the team total to go over, because I do think that they can definitely hit Sugano. And we went through some of his numbers yesterday, but it has been a struggle for him. And this Mets offense, I mean, their last 7 days, it's still really good numbers. 288 as a team, 356 on base percentage, and a 145 WRC plus. I know it's a slower start here in game 1, but I would look for runs in game 2, especially from the Mets side.
Yeah, 5.5 is the team total for both teams in game 2. Plus 10 on the Mets side on the over, even on Baltimore on the over, which is interesting because the Mets are favored in the game but have a better price on the team total. So that's something to at least keep in the back of your mind here on this one. All right, let's go to Cincinnati next. This is early evening ball in the Queen City. Reds will not be swept in this series, so that streak stays alive. A 7-2 win last night. They beat Alcantara. It will be Lodolo and Quantrill in this one. Lodolo is a -160 favorite, total of 9 in Cincinnati here today. Weather, it is 88 degrees, very limited wind. If there is any, it is blowing out the left, but it's less than 5 miles an hour here today.
Like the Reds yesterday with Andrew Abbott going, really good lefty. Now, I don't think Nick Lodolo is quite as good, but he does have 10 quality starts so far this year. I think it's a huge pitching advantage. And I think the Marlins have struggled against lefties. Although we saw their offense really come alive, they've definitely slowed down in the last week or so. So I lean to the Red side. I mean, especially they have been streaky offensively, but maybe this is their way back up after scoring 7 yesterday. So I'm not going to bet it. I do think that number is correct, though, that 160. So you're not really getting value here. I think the books put out a really good number there. But if you wanted to throw the Reds' first 5, which is more expensive, it's a little bit higher there. I couldn't really fault you for that. Definitely a pitching advantage.
The Reds on the fringe right now of the NL playoff race. They're 3.5 out, but they would have to hop 2 more teams, 3 technically, in order to get into that final wild card slot that is currently occupied by San Francisco, and Giants still in there despite getting annihilated yesterday by Philadelphia. Again, on the cusp. It's going to be very interesting at this trade deadline where everyone south of Miami on that list, Miami, Atlanta, Washington, Pittsburgh, Colorado. Now, granted, there's nothing worthy of buying on Colorado, but interested to see what pieces are sold from those teams down. Arizona's the interesting one at the deadline. Do they convince themselves if they're 4.5, 5 games out of the postseason? Do they convince themselves, all right, let's hold on? Or do we try to trade a Merrill Kelly, a Zach Gallen? Do we try to trade the starters in a trade deadline that does not have a lot of starting pitching that is likely to be available?
Right.
The Diamondbacks have 3 guys who I think would be teams, maybe even 4 if you include Eduardo Rodriguez, fought Merrill Kelly and Gallen. I think would all be pretty good pieces to be potentially available at the trade deadline from Arizona.
It is going to be really interesting. And Brandon Pfaadt, wow, he threw a really good game yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Curious if that had more to do with the Padres or him, but we will see. So, yeah, it is getting very interesting. The Rockies did get one guy. They found one guy to make the All-Star game. So.
Well, they're required to. So, Goodman and Bird are probably the only 2 guys who would be even worth anything. Maybe some team thinks, maybe Kyle Freeland can, but Freeland's contract is too big. I don't know why anyone would want to take that on. All right, let's go to St. Louis next. Nationals and Cardinals. Cardinals, as you just saw on that screen, only a game and a half out of the postseason entering today's action. Nats took the middle game last night, 8-2, so a rubber match in St. Louis. Michaelis, who got bombarded by the Cubs last week, will take on Mike Soroka. -40 on Michaelis, +25 on Soroka, total of 9. You know my thoughts on Michaelis. It was a matter of time, and we saw him finally just get crushed by the Cubs a week ago. It's hot, it's humid, and the wind's blowing out to left in this game, Alex.
Dang. Well, with that being said, it is a lean to the over there. I do think that Michaelis can pitch well here against the Nats lineup. I know that he did give up 10 hits to the Cubs, but he did go 6 innings and, 8 earned runs in that one, though. So maybe a little bit of a bounce back spot. He did have a rough start against Cleveland, too. So his road starts have been worse than his home starts. He is at home here. So I guess I'm saying I'm leaning slightly to the Cardinals at that price, but I'm not going to bet it.
I really want to go over because of this weather. Really was hoping for an 8.5. Still think it's good at 9. And I also like the first 5 over. It's a 5. I get that's a big number, especially on a 9, but bad conditions for pitchers. And I don't see, Michaelis's numbers, if you look under the hood, that was coming, what happened to him in Chicago. Now, granted, Cubs offense, totally different animal, even with the good young pieces in the Nats lineup than what Washington is. But I still like it over at 9. And I don't trust Soroka either on top of it. So over 9, and yeah, small piece on the over 5, just because that is a higher number in that first 5. All right, let's go to San Diego next. Eduardo Rodriguez and Ramon Vasquez, your pitching matchup here today. 8-2 yesterday. Arizona got the win after a 1-0 Padre win on Tuesday. San Diego actually a home dog in this one at even money with Vasquez, total of 9. Alex, I think the total's too high, and I think the wrong team is favored in this game. So I like the Padres side more than I like the total. You're giving me you can get plus 108 in the market on San Diego. Just go find the best of the number here and take the Padres here today. That would be the way I'd play it.
I'm with you on one of them. I don't necessarily think the Padres should be favored. I just do not trust them offensively right now. And now seeing a lefty, they're 19th in OPS on the year. And I mean, they have really just struggled. Even when they're getting wins, they're not putting up much runs there. The other side, the Diamondbacks are a top 5 offense in the league. So I'm with you there. One or the other, I don't think we're getting to 9 runs combined. So that is the play, and I am going to bet that one under 9. So with you there on the total. No strong conviction, though. I don't want to jump in and lay that with Eduardo Rodriguez and the Diamondbacks either.
Yeah, again, Rodriguez he's got a big contract, but again, if you're Arizona here, realistically speaking, if you're having to hop 3-4 teams in order to make the postseason and you play in a tough division, the toughest in baseball, you kind of have to look yourself in the mirror. If you're not close, again, you got 3 weeks. Things can change on a dime, as we know, but you're at this point, you almost kind of do like a passive sell. Maybe you trade one of the guys, not multiple if you're Arizona.
That's what I was going to say. It is so crazy because there's not a whole lot of teams where you can name 3 to 4 pitchers that other teams want, and they have them all right there, right? Of course, missing the biggest piece that they traded for with Corbin Burns, but I don't know what piece they really need. I mean, their bullpen probably, we have seen them give up some saves, but where they would actually trade for and try and make a push here. So it is tough. They're in the toughest spot of anyone.
Yeah, Kelly, and again, Kelly, actually looking contract-wise, Kelly's contract is a nothing burger. That might be the one that makes the most sense, but he's also been arguably their best pitcher. Yep. So, again, you got to weigh it if you're Arizona. Still time to go, though. You can get within a game and a half, and then the cold conversation we just had's moot. We go to New York next. Yankees, seems like the Yankees have finally found it. They beat the Mets on Sunday. They've taken the first 2 off Seattle. It's Marcus Stroman, which is never a good sign for the Yankees, on the bump. Did not pitch well in Queens on Friday. Brian Wu on the other side for the Mariners. Mariners lead down to 1 in the American League wildcard race over Boston after the Red Sox just crushed the Rockies for 3 straight games. Total 9.5. I got to stay out of this, Alex. I was actually kind of hoping that the Mariners would come as a plus price in this game, and then I would hop in. Now, again, they are the slightest of favorites, but I can't really do it. And I'm also concerned that the Yankees, all right, they had their June swoon, similar to what happened a year ago where it was a 6-week stretch where they went from over 30 games, over 500 to barely over 10 and then rattled it back over to being almost a 100-win team a year ago. I just wonder if the Yankees have fully found themselves here again. So I'm going to stay out of this.
You're right, Jeff. I mean, their offense has been so good. Batting .309 as a team in the last 7, .357 on base percentage, .585 slugging, and a 160 WRC plus. With all that being said, the Mariners have kind of slowed down. I would look at this, especially now that it's 9.5, kind of look at the full game under. And I'm a little bit worried about the Yankees bullpen. I do trust the Mariners bullpen to jump in there, but I do think Brian Wu can slow them down. At least seeing that lineup once. I mean, he has been one of the most consistent and best pitchers. You look at his sub-1 whip and his ERA, he's got 104 strikeouts to just 19 walks, and that's his median on the road, too. A lot of people try and say he's only good in Seattle, but on the road this year, I mean, going 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts to 1 walk, I'll take that any day. So trying to back him, but still a little concerned with, like you said, the Yankees are definitely back offensively. So I would just go under 5 here because as bad as Stroman is, I am concerned with the Mariners bats. I don't think they're going to put up too many on him in the first 5. So that's the way I'm looking. That's the way I'm leaning. I guess I should look maybe Seattle run line first 5, even though it scares me with the road team. But I just think it's huge pitching advantage with Brian Wu. And 9.5 is getting a little bit too big.
Mariners are -0.5, +15 first 5. Yankees, even during this bad stretch, the offense was at times an issue, but it was more the pitching. I mean, the pitching has been brutal. Now, last night, you had to like what you saw from Schlitter in his outing. Ran out of gas at the end, but again, we talked about the Yankee bullpen. Loizaga got beat up, but then Weaver and Williams closed that thing out last night, which is a good sign because Weaver had really struggled since coming off the IL. 5 outs, 3 strikeouts, no base runners. Looked like himself again, which the Yankees are going to need him. And they're going to need Fernando Cruz back as well, who is currently on the IL. All right, next up, we go to Boston. Red Sox just bombarded the barely professional Colorado Rockies over the week. The Rays got the final game in Detroit yesterday to at least salvage the series and not get swept. This is a huge one in the American League playoff race. If you look at the AL wildcard standings, the Red Sox, technically a game behind Seattle in the loss column, but they are all tied based off a winning percentage. They just have played 2 extra games over Seattle. And more importantly for this series, a game and a half behind Tampa. And this is 4 here at Fenway starting tonight. So an opportunity for the Red Sox to actually hold a playoff spot entering the All-Star break if they can win a series against Tampa Bay over the weekend. It is Buehler and Bradley, and Walker is a small favorite in this one, -110, and a total of 9 at Fenway tonight.
This handicap is very similar to that Mariners and Yankees handicap. I want to back the better pitcher, and Tage Bradley is definitely the better pitcher here with what we are seeing from Walker Buehler so far this year. So, but comparing the offensive numbers, I mean, the Red Sox have just been so hot as of late, batting .345, .389 on base percentage, a .624 slugging, and a .175 WRC plus. That makes me a little bit nervous. Even with Taj Bradley, 9 quality starts, 53% on the year, I'm still just a little worried about that here in this one. It's a lean to the Rays, maybe first 5 even, just to hang around in this one, but I really couldn't get there completely.
Yeah, this is the only thing I'm a little surprised at is this total is as high as it is. It's not good hitting conditions tonight at Fenway. Now, granted, it's Fenway, so you have to take that with a grain of salt, but it's wind blowing in, and it's under 70 degrees tonight at Fenway. So it's not like we saw earlier this week where it was insanely hot and the wind was blowing out. It was also Colorado's pitching, which makes a little bit of a difference too. So a little surprised that this is 9 juiced over. If we see a 9.5, I'll come under on this one, and there are currently no 9.5s. It's all 9 juiced over right now in the market. All right, let's go to the south side of Chicago. White Sox ended the Blue Jays win streak yesterday, and now they get Cleveland. The Guardians, who, of course, had that 10-game losing streak entering the week, naturally go to Houston and sweep the Astros because, of course, they do.
Right.
Makes a whole lot of sense there. Logan Allen against Jonathan Cannon on the south side. Total 8.5, Guards -125 in this one, Alex.
You forgot, too, of course, after the Astros sweep the Dodgers, then the Guardians go
that too. Yeah.
to Houston to
Exactly.
sweep the Astros. Just how baseball goes, right? That actually makes me lean to the White Sox here in this one. Maybe a little bit of a letdown here for the Guardians. I don't know if they've completely figured it out and come back, because just a few weeks ago, we were talking about this offense just being at a dead standstill. And I mean, even their numbers from the last 7 still say it, even with those 3 wins. Batting .212 as a team and 77 WRC plus. And Jonathan Cannon, he's been decent enough here. I do think he's pretty much rated the same as Logan Allen on the other side. So lean to the home team. I wish I was getting a better price here with taking the White Sox.
Yeah, that is just such a cheap price. I mean, +115 full game on the White Sox. Yeah. Actually +110 even. The best number out there is +117. Yeah, I can. Yeah. It just, and it's Cannon too. If it was Burke or Smith, yeah. No, wouldn't even hesitate, honestly. But Cannon, don't love it. All right, let's go to the Angels next. Final game between them and the Rangers. Pat Corbin, and it's Kahanowitz on the other side for the Angels. Total 9.5. Angels slightly favored at -110. Alex, this is a weather game in Anaheim. No, not rain. It doesn't rain in Southern California. We know that. But it is a wind blowing out game, and it's in the mid-80s. So it's a little bit hotter with wind blowing out in a ballpark where it doesn't normally blow out here. That's why we have a 9.5 juiced over. So the books are well aware of what this weather is going to be here tonight at Angel Stadium.
I mean, and if you watched that game yesterday, I think, what was it, 17 or 19 total runs in that? And Mike Trout, 2 home runs. Really messed up my day there. Rangers did not get there. So I'm with you. I like the over here. I was actually just going to look at the Texas Rangers team total, which 4.5 here on the sheet. If it is still that is a definite play for me. But I don't hate the full game either. I do think Patrick Corbin could get hit up a little bit by these Angels. But I love to fade Kachanowicz, and I think this is a good spot. And I like what I've seen from the Rangers offensively, especially as of late.
It's funny that Patrick Corbin's the better pitcher in this game too. But yeah, I'm going to just stay out of this. Even though that total, if you want to go over, I have no issue. Like, good hitting conditions, like you said, 19 runs yesterday,
Yep.
an 11-8 game. I would I'd only look to the over, but tread carefully on a 9.5, especially even with the good hitting conditions, especially in that ballpark, which is normally not a hitter's ballpark. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, Vince, you rattled up another good trivia question here today, so that will be in the bottom of the ticker, bottom of your screen when we get back. And also joining us next, Robbie Calland, CBS Sports. We're going to talk Summer League, and we're also going to talk some golf. Coming up, British Open starting next week at Royal Putterish in Northern Ireland. So we'll discuss that with Robbie when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
We're back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. And now joining us, you see his work over on CBS Sports, covers golf. Of course, you hear him on the Puntcast as well. and also making his first non-trip to Vegas in the Summer League in 10 years as well. I know, Robbie, I'm going to miss you out here, man. It's our good friend Robbie Callen with us right now. Good morning. Good afternoon, actually, where you are, Robbie.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It is. It's been like 12 years since I haven't been out there. So I'm missing it. I'm missing the heat and missing some bad basketball.
Well, I'm happy you brought in the last point there because I know everyone. It's so funny, like because just like covering Summer League as a whole, like first 48 hours of it, it's like, all right, this is cool. All right, we get to see the top draft picks. Once we hit day 3, it's like, all right, starting to wane with the talent. By day 4, it's like, all right, it's G League Central up in here. But look, at least tonight, Robbie, there are plenty of good ways to waste $400 in Vegas. We all know that. I don't know. I think Summer League tickets, $400 to see Flag and Bronny tonight, that might be the most prolific waste of $400 you might ever see in this town. And that's saying something.
Yeah, it's been wild. I mean, like you said, like I've been doing this since 2013, I think was my first year out at Summer League. And like, it is incredible to see like the gym being packed, all that. Like I remember the first year it really was like that was like the D'Angelo Russell Lakers. Like when the Lakers started getting top picks, you started to see some of the crowds, all the LA folks coming out. But yeah, it's nuts that this is like a hot ticket now. And like, it's going for a few $100. Like it's like what, 2,000 to sit courtside? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like 2,000 can get you pretty far in some places in Vegas. That's going to be better than courtside at Thomas and Mack with all due respect to Cooper Flagg and Bronny James. Yeah, it's pretty wild to see, but good on the league. They've figured out a way to make this a true event. I remember when I first started going out, it was not that. It was great to cover because I could go walk up to anybody in the gym and talk to them. That's not the case anymore. But yeah, it is. It's quite the extravaganza now.
It sure is. They've shortened it a little bit. I mean, it was a 2.5 week extravaganza for a while there. They've shortened it down smartly so, even though they did okay that one year because the Lakers made the final with Alex Caruso. Boy, did we not know at that point what we were getting with Caruso back then. Robbie, just in general, though, not to besmirch the event, we do learn at least a little bit of things. Guys win roster spots, but what are we looking at here? What are you looking forward to over these next week plus here in Vegas? Any sort of storylines you're looking at in the Summer League?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to see the top picks look good. Like that's the first thing is like it's always something where you want to see them look like they belong immediately. And then I think the thing, if you're a team, if you're a fan of a team that has guys that are going into their second year, those are the guys that I'm always looking for because rookies are going to be rookies. They're going to be high. They're going to be low. But the guy with a year of experience should look like he honestly doesn't belong out there. Like he should look like the best player in the gym. And so if you're a fan of a team that has one of these second-year guys, the Lakers tonight with Dalton Connect, if he's going to be out there, if he's going to be playing, like you want him to look dominant out there. You want these second-year guys, these second-year rookies, Reed Shepherd for Houston, these second-year sophomores, last year's rookies. I want to see them kind of dominate and prove like, hey, y'all should let me pack this up and head home after a couple days.
Question for you. I'm looking at my dad's power ratings here, Kenny White, who goes through every player and has a power rating on them. And I'm curious what you think about the parity this year between the teams. And he even mentioned he has less guys that are like in that top tier. So does that spread it out throughout all the teams going into this Summer League?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the holistically, like for the champion, for me, what I look at in that odds market is I look for teams that have, we saw it last year with the Heat with Josh Christopher, like who is a kind of a veteran guy who's going to play all the way. Like that's some of it, Jeff and Alex, this, like so much of Summer League is who's going to play all the way. It's 2 weeks. Some teams don't want to be there. Some teams purposefully will lose a couple games midway through and try to get themselves out. What teams traditionally want to be there? And who has a guy who maybe is in year 3, maybe is in year 4 and needs this, showcase. I look at a team like the Knicks with Marjon Beauchamp. Like that's the kind of guy that could be in that Josh Christopher role in terms of who can just take over and dominate because they're a legit NBA player, but they need to show it because they need to get a roster spot. So I agree. I think a lot of parity I think you kind of take a sprinkle on a number of teams in that like 18 to 22 to 1 range and feel like you got a shot. The Knicks, the Clippers, Miami again will have some guys. Like I think those teams that you traditionally see going deep into the tournament and actually trying to compete. That's where you kind of want to lead yourself rather than the big names and the top prospects, because those guys are getting shut down after 3 games.
Can I interest you in 80 to 1 on the Knicks?
Yeah, Marjon Beauchamp.
There we
Send
go.
it in. I mean, but those are the guys you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like, I really think those are the guys you're looking for. Those are the guys we see kind of year in, year out, taking teams deep. We saw, the Rockets have had guys in the past like that. I think the Knicks, I think the Clippers, I think some of these teams that have guys that are veterans but are also going to probably want to play the whole time. That's kind of where I would lean as you look at rosters.
That was Superbook number on the Knicks at 80 to 1, who were the last listed team on the summer league odds. So there you go. For a potential pizza money long bomber, if you want this week. Little sprinkle. I do want to ask you about NBA offseason stuff real quick, Robbie, before we swap over to the Open Championship at Royal Portrush next week. I feel like we've asked this question to everyone we talk to NBA with, but I got to do it. Eastern Conference, obviously, very much wide open because of all the injuries. Obviously, no Tatum for the year for Boston, no Halliburton for Indiana. Giannis's future's in flux, even though I think Milwaukee did a little bit better free agency wise than some people are making it out to be. But what do we look at in the Eastern Conference? Is it as simple as, hey, Cleveland was the best team in a regular season last year. The field has opened up for them, and the one team they couldn't beat is significantly hampered? Or do we look at the Knicks, or do we look at someone down the board like the Atlanta Hawks, who had a really nice free agency 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think, the Cavs are going to be just trying to run it back again. At such a low price that they're going to be at, especially like in the win the East market. I just have a hard time wanting to take Cleveland with where they're going to be at. New York is interesting. Like, if that offense opens up some with Mike Brown, I think they have a really good chance of winning the East. I'm interested to see what he does. I think regular season wise, you might not see them look quite as good as they did last year for the full stretch, because I think he's going to go a little deeper into his bench than Tom Thibodeau did. He's going to want to kind of manage them as he tries to get them to play a little more up tempo. But we saw that offense stall out so much in the playoffs when it was just Brunson ISO. And I think if they can create a little more pace, a little more tempo, and move the ball around a little bit more, kind of excited to see what he does there. But I'm with you. I think the 2 teams in the Southeast, Orlando and Atlanta, both had great summers. Adding Desmond Bane is really big for Orlando. They need somebody that can shoot. They need somebody that can score. That's not Paolo and Franz trying to make the toughest shots in the gym, because that's what their offense was for a lot of the playoffs. Was those 2 guys having a tough jumper competition, and having Bane in there to space the floor, I think is going to be really big for them. I think they've had a nice summer. And then, like you said, Atlanta, we've seen it kind of break their way before. And I really like that team. If they can stay healthy, I mean, the big key is going to be Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis. If those 2 guys are healthy, which is obviously a big if, they will absolutely be a threat. And I think worth a little nibble.
Before we jump into the Open, that is next week, the British Open, that is, I'm curious your thoughts. Of course, the first round's basically almost done here with the Scottish Open, but I'm looking to jump in maybe today or tomorrow. Did you place any bets on any golfers for this one?
So this week, I don't have anything right now. I was actually kind of wanting to jump in the in a little bit of the midweek market. I wanted to see kind of who came out strong and kind of see where things shake out. I do like the way Victor Hovland's playing. He's somebody I've got an eye on for the Open, and he has historically played well on link style courses. I think Hovland is a guy, I believe he's off to a pretty solid start right now. I think he was 3 under last I checked, and I think 6 under is the lead.
Yep.
So, Hovland's a guy that I've got my eye on for the Open, and we'll get there in a minute. But I do think he's somebody that just plays well. And for me, with guys like him, I think we've seen it with Spieth, who's traditionally been really solid at the Open. And he's not playing this week with the injury, but he's going to play next week. Guys that fight their golf swing a lot, I think when they get on link-style courses, you just have to play golf. You're playing golf shots. You're not playing golf swing the way you do on a lot of PGA Tour courses. And I think it kind of frees up guys like that get in their head. And Hovland is certainly a guy that gets in his head a lot. And so I think he's a guy that benefits when they go over there and play that style of golf where you're just kind of trying to move it around and get it on the ground and do different things. And so he's a guy this week. I think he's 16-ish to 1 right now from what I'm seeing. That I do think he's got a good chance this week.
Right now, it's a 4-way tie at the top with Echeverria, Knapp, Sepp Straka, and Victor Perez all at 6 under. Hovland 4 under now, 2 shots back. But there's a lot of scoring going on right now over at Renaissance. Always is in the Scottish Open.
Yeah, it's always going to be pushed right around 20 under over there. So
Absolutely.
You're going to have to go deep.
So Robbie, let's move over to Royal Portrush for next week. The last time this tournament was there, and I want to start with Rory McIlroy, of course, is the native son of Northern Ireland, as we know. The last time they were there was 2019, which might as well have been 1909 at this point with everything that's happened. But look, Rory missed the cut. If we remember, it was the horrible round 1, had that epic round 2, just couldn't quite get there in the end. He's the second favorite this week. Chef wears at plus 350. It's still comical to see that sort of number, even if it's deserved like it is. But what are your thoughts on, we'll throw them together, on Rory going back to Royal Portrush after missing the cut 6 years ago there, and then, of course, Scotty, who is playing at another level than everybody else right now?
Yeah, I mean, starting with Rory, we're going to find out if he's kind of back in form. We saw him. He looked pretty lackluster after winning the Grand Slam, which is understandable. I think just the emotional letdown. He talked after the U.S. Open, I believe, he talked about Portrush being the next mountain that he can identify to climb and the thing that kind of gives him a little motivation. So I think we're going to see a good version of Rory. I'm still not sure his game right now is in the spot that I want to necessarily take him as the second favorite at 7-1 to win. But I do think we're going to see a better version of Rory than we saw at the PGA, than we saw at the US Open. I think he's just going to handle this better than he did in 2019. Because 2019, he not only had the pressure of being home, but he was still, he was midway through his drought. He was 4 or 5 years away removed from his last major and had all those questions that persisted, that bothered him for years. Now he doesn't necessarily have that. It's a little different. I think he's figured out how to handle that pressure. It's more internally finding the motivation, and then also just finding his game. And then with Scotty, I'm interested to see if he can just kind of like put it all together and get it done at the Open. He's got great finish. He's got great finishes at every tournament. But we haven't quite seen him conquer links golf. And I think for him, that's actually kind of a fun challenge. He talked this week about how different it is playing links courses, especially around the greens. It kind of opens up his creativity to a degree. And I think if he can embrace that and he finds it fun, making that kind of taking that challenge on and trying to, you talk about Rory with what mountains are left to climb. Scotty kind of has to find the same things. And I think the Open is one of those last ones for him in terms of, conquering something he hasn't done yet, which is links golf. And so I'm interested to see how he is. I cannot take a guy 350 before a golf tournament. Like I understand why he's there. It's deserved. It just, for me, I just can't do it. So I always just default to looking down the board, even though I do think Scotty will be, top 10 on Sunday when we're coming home, and he's going to be part of the story.
Well, looking at some of those shorter odds, I want to stop right at about DeChambeau so we can get into Victor Hovland after. But between those top 5 or 6 right there to DeChambeau, you like one of the live guys, but it is not Bryson. Can you break that down and why you like him?
Yeah, John Rahm. He has been tremendous on links courses in his career. I'm going to steal a little Justin Ray stat, who's the best in the business. John Rahm has the best cumulative score for somebody who hasn't won the Open, who's played minimum 30 rounds at the Open. So he is somebody who's always lurking. He's somebody who is in good form right now. He's been playing good golf. We saw obviously the PGA, he was in contention until kind of he had to press on the Green Mile, and that doesn't go real well. But played solidly to close the U.S. Open, kind of backdoor to a top 10, top 15 there. I think he's my pick of that top group. I know 8-1 is not exactly long odds, but I do just think he is a guy that is so tailor-made for major championship golf. He has kind of all the elements you want. I don't think he's the best in the world at any one thing, but he is so good at all of the elements. And he's a guy that creativity comes out. We've seen it at Augusta. We see it at the Open when he goes there. I think he's just somebody who can play anywhere and play well anywhere. And I expect him to definitely be part of the story late on Sunday.
Robbie, just going back to Hovland, who again you've talked about hasn't won, but has been successful over in Open championships in his early career. South Point here sitting at 20-1. There are better numbers available if you shop around. Just what gravitates you towards Vic here this week?
Yeah, kind of the same things I talked about with the Scottish. I think it's just this is a place that allows him to play kind of free, and we've seen when he kind of gets out of his own way. He's just a spectacular talent, and it feels like this is going to be kind of the place where if he's going to break through and get that major, it feels like the Open is a perfect kind of place for him to do it, because I think the golf course is set up really well for him. He's somebody that can kind of flight the golf ball. He's really good with his irons of kind of changing trajectory, and when he plays golf shot and not golf swing, like I said, I think he just unlocks a different level. And I think he's starting to find some confidence. We saw it at the U.S. Open. He got a win earlier this year. Like I think he's just starting to believe a little bit more in himself. He got a little bit in the weeds and lost, and I think he lost that confidence more than anything, more than the swing, more than anything else. He just didn't believe he was doing the right stuff. And I think now he feels like he's on that right path. And when you couple that with a course that's going to allow him to get creative and to kind of work the ball all over the golf course, I think that's something that suits him. As do kind of greens that are not going to be, you don't have to be a great putter to putt well at the Open. Like you're not looking to pour in long putts all over the golf course. That's just not the way the greens are there. And I think that plays into the hands of someone like Vic, who's a solid, lag putter, but not necessarily a guy who ranks at the top of the strokes gained putting all the time.
Moving down the board more towards that 50, 60-1 spot, is there anyone that you like maybe to take a flyer on or to back them in matchups or top 20 markets?
Russell Henley is a guy that again, another ball striker, another that guy that can kind of flight it, can handle conditions. I mean, we've seen a short hitting Georgia Bulldog take home an Open championship in Brian Harman, and I think Russell Henley has a similar kind of game that can travel over there, that can perform well. I think he was a top 10 over there. Tristan Lawrence is a guy way down. I think he's 200-1 here. He's 100 to 200-1, kind of wherever. He's just playing really good golf. He was a top 5 last year at the Open, played well at the U.S. Open. He's got great success on the European Tour, has won on kind of links courses in the past. I don't know about to win, but if you're talking about matchups, if you're talking about placement as far as like a guy who might have good top 20 odds when those come out, Tristan Lawrence is a guy I kind of like. Ryan Fox, another guy that has a great history in Europe and knows how to play these kind of golf courses, and can just move that ball. Like he's somebody that can take advantage of what should be pretty firm, fast conditions at Portrush. And so Ryan Fox is a guy who I look at. And then finally, I think Cameron Young has a really good history at the Open, which is another guy that maybe gets in his head a little too much. And when he lets his natural talent come out, can play. So he's another guy that I don't know about to win, but you look at somebody in the market, He's 60-1. He'll probably have some favorable matchups in kind of that mid-tier. I think Cameron Young's a guy who's starting to kind of turn it around. He was in the weeds for a bit last year, but started to kind of see that old Cameron Young that was in contention a lot. So those are kind of 3 or 4 names that I think stand out to me.
Robbie, before we let you go, I didn't plan on doing this, but I just have to at least ask because we're 5 weeks away from watching Iowa State and Kansas State do battle in Dublin as God intended when he created college football, right? Exactly. But I'll just say this, Robbie, and I'll ask you this because going through all my college football stuff and my initial power ratings have the Penn State Nittany Lions as the number 1 team in my rankings. How terrified should I be of that?
Terrifying. That is terrifying. I get it, though. I get it. A ton of talent. You've got a quarterback who, I'm interested. The thing with Penn State that I'm fascinated to see is will they finally kind of let Drew Aller go? Like, I think they just have to understand that, yes, there's, the potential that he's going to throw some picks here and there. But, like, if you want to be a title contender, if you're Penn State, I think you just have to say, we can't have this situation where we're saying we have to protect our quarterback. You've got to let him go win you football games. You've got to trust him. It's his 3rd year. Like, you've got to trust him to go out there and do it and get it done. And like, you can't play a scared football. You can't go up against Ohio State. You can't go up against Oregon. You can't go up against Georgia, Texas, whoever it is, and try to kind of protect and get to the finish line. Like, you've got to go take it. And I'm interested to see if they finally kind of let him loose a little bit and just say, hey, can he get it done for us? Because that's the only way they're going to win is if they let him have those moments. That's not to say they need to chuck it around the yard for 4 quarters, but you do kind of have to turn him loose at some points just to show the other team a different dynamic. I'm interested to see how they handle it there and how he handles that when they do give him that responsibility, because that'll determine what they do. But that is a team with a ton of talent on both sides of the football. And it will come down to whether Drew Aller is that guy. And if he can be, like, he can put himself in position to be a top pick in the NFL draft and all the things that come with that. But yeah, he's got a ton of talent. It's just a matter of, I think they just have to kind of suck it up and embrace the chaos a little bit with that and say, when we get in those big moments, let them rip.
That final Saturday of September against Oregon, we are going to learn a ton about both Penn State as a whole, and we're also going to learn a ton about Dante Moore as well on the Oregon side on that. A rare whiteout game now at Penn State because they actually, NBC's got the game, not Fox. So we get to see a night game for once in a Big Ten spot. He's Robbie Calland. Of course, you can get him at CBS Sports, R. Calland on the tweets, also host of the Puntcast as well. Robbie, good luck with all the bets on the Open Championship. We'll miss you out here in Vegas this week. Thanks for hanging with us the other day.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Robbie Calland, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, trivia answer and Alex's whiteboard on a Thursday right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust: footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Welcome back in, wrapping things up here on a Thursday morning on Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White, happy to be with you as always. Trivia time, as I almost hurt my own voice box there, bringing it out. So this is a fun one. And what's up? I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I've done worse. So Vince, when I saw the name to begin trivia, I thought it was going to be a different question. But this question still is a goodie here today. So Carl Hubble of the New York Giants, all the way back in 1934, set the record for 5 consecutive strikeouts in an MLB All-Star game. By the way, only in that round struck out 5 consecutive Hall of Famers, including Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth in that stretch. One of the best pitching performances ever in an All-Star game. So this was matched later on, a little more than 50 years later. So who is that pitcher that matched that mark of 5 consecutive strikeouts in a Major League All-Star game? It was, of course, Fernando Mania. Fernando Valenzuela did it in 1986 in the Astrodome. Struck out 5 consecutive guys. Mattingly, Ripken Jr., Jesse Barfield, Lou Whitaker, and Teddy Higuera were the 5 he struck out back to back to back to back to back. Make sure I'm getting the amount of backs in that one. So Valenzuela did it then. And Nick is back on the board with the 2nd consecutive here in the month of July. So there you go. Valenzuela and Hubbard to do that. By the way, 3 in an inning. Remember, too, with Hubbard back in the day, he can go ahead and pitch more than 2 innings in an All-Star game back in the 30s. So there you go, Valenzuela, your answer. All right. Whiteboard time here on a Thursday, Alex. Nice loaded card here, including a summer league play. Oh, wow. All right, here we go. Ready for the summer league play here on a Thursday.
Yes, so Kenny White's summer league play here is New Orleans Pelicans taking the points. He said Utah should, of course, be the favorite, as they are, but took a little flyer on the Pelicans, does like their experience that they have on that roster. And then even he said Boston, surprisingly, the Celtics, they have a pretty easy schedule. So as long as everybody plays and sticks it out. So those two he was kind of looking at for future bets for Summer League.
All right.
Going with my plays today, I have 3 1-unit plays, and then I'm going to do a half a unit there at the bottom. So Diamondbacks and Padres, Jeff and I both agreed and talked about this one. 9, think that is too many runs in this game just because we've seen a lot of runs in the first 2. So I'm going under that 9 here. Mariners and Yankees, I'm also going under in this one. Brian, you on the mound for the Mariners, worried about Seattle's bats. So I think we can stay under that 9.5 now that it has gotten that high. I'm going to trust the Yankees bullpen that they looked better yesterday. Rangers team total, I'm going over 4.5 against Kachowicz for the Angels there. And then I'm taking a shot with the Mariners run line. So taking that half a run in the first 5, getting that plus money, plus 115, half a unit there.
There's your whiteboard for today. We'll all be on New Orleans here. We'll all be on the Pelicans. That's the first game of the day, by the way, in an hour and a half. So get your bets in for the NBA Summer League. Again, Westgate had 80-1 on the Knicks, which was one that Robbie brought up as sprinkle on potential to win the Summer League here in Las Vegas. All right, that's what we got for you. We'll be back tomorrow. Vinny Magliulo making his return, right, Vince? All right, there we go. Vinny Magliulo will be back tomorrow, so looking forward to that. And then we're already at the weekend. How about that?
We are.
All right, crazy enough. Only will be our last show before the MLB All-Star break as well tomorrow. So we'll get you ready. We'll have our thoughts also looking into the second half of the baseball season next week. Again, we'll be here. There won't be a lot of sports going on, but we'll be here all next week for you here on the show. Shout out to the crew, Ryan, Jerry, Sean, Vince, and Drew Dog here today on a Thursday. Alex, good luck. Get some winners on that board. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.